Hello everybody, and I am Burjan Hansotia welcoming you once again for the lecture of Indian polity. We meet once again. Last time in the introductory lecture we discussed the whole Indian political structure, and I told you what are the different political bindings and how is your system, and we all have this thing in our minds that how is the political system, what is the political system. We always look forward to the hierarchy of various offices, like the hierarchy of the police, and we would always like to know how does the legislature work, how is the Lok Sabha and how is the Rajya Sabha working along with, and various other things that we would like to know about the administrative system, the administrative functions of India. Rather than we would be discussing more, and from today we start on a thorough lecture. That was an introductory lecture, mind you, and we start on a thorough lecture from today for Indian polity. And the first we shall discuss that the Indian Constitution is actually a framework. The Indian Constitution provides for the framework. It is the supreme framework under which other rules and by rules and other laws and other rules and regulations are written down. It provides a basic structure that within this ambit of this basic structure other laws are framed. We shall start off with the preamble of the Indian Constitution. We have all studied the preamble of the Indian Constitution in our school, but we tend to forget when we are at this graduation level and we are actually preparing for civil services exam. I would like to tell you more about the preamble, and we of course discuss it in a bit better manner and a bit strong manner, and the language rather becomes of the graduation one, and your graduation language is what you are required to give in your Union Public Service Commission mains exam. We discussed the preamble of the Indian Constitution. The preamble of the Indian Constitution also happens to be a fundamental soul of the Indian Constitution. The preamble also happens to be the basic structure of the Indian Constitution. We should note on this point that there can be amendments to the Indian Constitution. Amendments. The Indian Constitution can be amended. That is, that some article to the Indian Constitution can be added or it can be subtracted. And there can be an addition to an article to the Indian Constitution, to the preamble rather, since we are talking about preamble, and there can be an addition to the preamble. We shall discuss further the amendments in the preamble and what is the preamble in literal sense. What does the preamble start with? If you are having a copy of the Constitution of India or a note or some book of Constitution of India in front of you, you shall just go through it, or it is available on your website. A copy of Constitution is available in a PDF format, and that you should read what is written inside the preamble. It starts off as "We the people of India." And this is very important because it has the sentiments and it is the viewpoint of all the people of India. It also forms the core crux or the basis and the fundamentals of secularism in India. So the preamble starts off with "We the people of India." We solemnly resolve that for the first thing that we resolve is that we are constituting that India is, we will mark down all the 5 points, that India is, firstly, I'll write it down, sovereign. The first is, India is sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic. So that we constitute India into 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. That is sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic. Sovereignty means that you are looking forward to the sovereignty of the Indian Constitution. You are not looking forward to a sovereignty of a ruler, since now India is a democratic country, and sovereignty means looking forward to that, and looking forward to actually you may say patronize, and here we are patronizing nothing but India, our country. looking forward to the sovereignty of the constitution, to the apex body that is the legislature, to the apex body that is all respects to the judiciary, and all such apex bodies, the head of the executive, as you all know, the president. There we shall see the sovereignty, and then we shall see these principles, socialist, secular, democratic republic, coming into the picture. And socialist, that we shall live in a communal harmony, that we the people of India shall be sovereign to the laws and the rules and the regulations and the constitution of India. We the people shall be a socialist group. We shall always strive to be communal, and the feeling of brotherhood shall come staying within the society. We shall be secular. Of course, secular, India is a secular state. The very example that people of all religions stay here, of course. The basic thing that we say that no religion shall be the official religion of the country. That is the very basis for a country to be secular. Democratic. Once the country is secular, of course, democracy can be seen or it is very effective. You can say sovereign, socialist, secular is, all these three qualities are very important for India to be a democratic country. It can be seen as an effective mechanism to run smoothly or to see the salient features of democracy within the country. And India is also a republic, so that is, it is all sovereign to one Indian nation. It shall remain sovereign to the supreme rule of law. Supreme rule of law is the constitution. Rule of law was first used by, I would like you to note this down, rule of law, this was first used by Professor A.V. Dicey. Professor A.V. Dicey. Certainly, this was the first thing, and it was used in England. Professor A.V. Dicey of England. Rule of law over here happens to be the Indian Constitution, so that you shall see sovereignty to that, and not to a particular communal leader or not to a particular community group, because we are no more in monarchy now. We do not live in a monarchy. We live in a democratic country. We are not communalists. I'm sorry. We are secular. We are socialist. We are sovereign to one supreme rule of law. That is the Indian Constitution, of course. And of course, we abide by the legislature. We abide by the judiciary. We invest our faith in the legislature. We invest our faith in the judiciary. So, and of course, India is a republic. When we all come together on one common platform, and we see India as a republic, and the Republic Day of India actually happens to be when the Constitution came into enforcement. The Constitution came into force on the Republic Day, that is 26th of January 1950, 1950. So we are clear with this, that the preamble, the main features of the preamble say that we the people of India constitute India into sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic. It also guarantees, and the preamble says the Indian citizens would get justice. Justice of what kind? Social, economical, and political. Justice shall be given to Indian people, all sorts of justice, social justice, economical justice, political justice. It shall also give liberty. Liberty in literal sense means freedom to do something, liberty of many things. Liberty to personal life is one of the articles of the Constitution. Freedom to speech, expression, as you all know, that will come in later on articles. Liberty is stated in the preamble. The word liberty gives you freedom, freedom of expression. What sort of liberty? Liberty of expression, liberty of thoughts, and also looks forward to equality amongst all the citizens of India. So now you see, with all this incorporated into the preamble, when we saw sovereign, socialist, democratic republic, sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, so that is SSRDR, we see features of justice, we see the features of liberty and equality. So you see, all these actually form the basis of a democratic India. The actual democracy shall be surfaced via justice, via liberty, via equality to all the citizens of India, equality in all forms, be it men or women, be it in any trade or profession, all sorts of equality. We Indians, we say that we are one. When we talk about justice, it shall be on all grounds, it shall not be denied on a socially backward ground or an economic ground or a political ground. When we talk about liberty, it shall be of expression, it shall be of thoughts, it shall be of speech, thoughts, expression, and of course equality in all fronts. That all these form the basic structure of the preamble. Now what I would like you to know, that from these words, sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic, all were not present in the preamble or in the constitution, as you would say, from the beginning when it was actually drafted. Socialist, sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic were all not present in the concept. The words like sovereign, democratic and republic were later on added to the constitution. They were inserted into the constitution by a very important amendment act. All of you should know this and all of you should note it down. A very important amendment act coming around, 42nd Amendment Act. By the 42nd Amendment Act in the year 1976. 1976. This is very important because most of the amendments of the constitution are actually done in the 42nd Amendment Act 1976. That is why we also call it as the mini constitution. It is also known as mini constitution. All shall note it down. Lot of amendments to the constitution were made in this year 1976. So the words like sovereign, democratic and republic were later on added to the preamble of the Indian Constitution, preamble of IC. Every time when you write certain article, when you talk about certain article, be sure that you denote Indian Constitution or Constitution of India wherever when you write your mains exams or whenever you denote it, in your interview also. You say Article 5. Article 5 of what? It could be of many other things, but Article 5 of the Indian Constitution. So it would be better to say preamble of the Indian Constitution. It is of course more polished language and a polished way of saying that you are referring to the preamble. It also gives you fraternity. Fraternity as in dignity of the individual. Fraternity, it also secures fraternity. So it gives the principles of, or the preamble lays the basic principles of sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and also justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. So you see, each and every social aspect, social element and each and every feature of salient democracy shall be seen over here. All these features shall guarantee the smooth and effective running of the democracy, and that is why we see India as a great example of democracy throughout the world. So now you can see, we shall conclude that the preamble it says that it is adopted and enacted by the Indian citizens. We, the people of India, adopt, enact and give ourselves this constitution on a very important day. I shall write it down here. It was on 26th day of November. 26th day of November 1949. A very important date. 26th of November 1949, the constitution was enacted. Enacted in the sense it was written down. And please note this point also, that Indian constitution is a written constitution. Many countries around the globe do not have a written constitution. There are some countries who are not having written constitution. India is one of them who has a written constitution. It was adopted and enacted on 26th day of November 1949. However, it came into force, as I told you, on 26th January 1950. One more very important point that I would like to say, and you should mark it actually, it is very important. It has appeared in many of the civil services paper, be it UPSC or be it any state service, public service commission, any state public service commission. One very important point that you should know or you should note down and you should surface it with regard to the preamble. It is, of course, as I say, it is the basic structure. It is very fundamental to the constitution. It is very base of the constitution on which that it grants liberty, it grants justice, equality, fraternity, and then only we can see that it is that India is constituted into a sovereign, socialist, secular and a democratic. Democratic is very important. Then only we can see the salient features of democracy. So please note it down. This very case that I am giving you right now, noting down, is a very important example when the Supreme Court gave this case. It was Keshwanand Bharati case. Keshwanand Bharati. A very important case. Keshwanand Bharati versus State of Kerala. This is a very important case. In this case, Supreme Court said that the basic structure of the constitution cannot be amended. There can be amendments to the preamble. Amendment to the Indian constitution, you people should note down, is either flexible or either it is rigid. Flexible in the case that some amendments to the Indian constitution do not require a majority in the Constituent Assembly or do not require a majority of people to actually support it. But when certain things are of too complex matter, if for a reason they are religious matters, or if for a reason that you say that it is pertaining to, it will actually cause problems to a particular community in India. India is a perfect example of unity and diversity. So it may affect this a part of India, a part of society which may not be happy with something coming up. So those kind of issues need a special majority to actually amend the constitution, to add something or to remove something, to add, to insert or to subtract something from the constitution, subtract a part of it or insert an article, insert a whole article, we never know. So that may be the case. But Keshwanand Bharati case versus State of Kerala in the year 1973 is very important when it was a Supreme Court case. So we write it down, AIR, All India Reporter, 1973 Supreme Court. We read it this way. This case is an important landmark or a milestone in the history of all the cases of India, and the interpretation of this case is used in many other cases also. So it was clear in Keshwanand Bharati versus State of Kerala case of 1973 that the basic structure of the constitution cannot be amended. It can come in your preliminary exam papers for 2 marks, of course. It will state, I will write it down here, basic structure. Basic structure. Basic structure of the Indian Constitution cannot be amended. A very important thing. And a good example of this part is Keshwananda Bharati case versus State of Kerala, 1973. As I said, amendments to the constitution are either flexible or either rigid. India has the largest written constitution in the world with over 450 odd articles. More than that, of course, there are some articles. If there is Article 21, you also have Article 21A. For your Panchayati Raj, you have Article 243A, B, C, D, up to Z, again Z, E, F, and that is a very long form, up to Z, E, F, G. So up to E we shall study, of course, there is a totally different chapter when we come up with Panchayati Raj and when we take up local self-government bodies. Article 243 especially deals with that. But here we shall see that Indian Constitution is actually not that easy to amend, and it is prevalent in other cases also. We have examples of other cases. This case is the best example, and it is most probably asked in your exam papers and it is a favorite question of the state services. So you shall prepare for this, and you shall know the year also 1973 if you are very clear. And they may have written it wrongly in your question, that Keshwananda Bharati versus the state of Gujarat, and then they may give all these details 1973. You have to mark it wrong. You have to study that it was Keshwananda Bharati versus state of Kerala. That also you should know. So it says basic structure of the Indian Constitution cannot be amended. Though the preamble can be amended in the cases where it is for a larger public interest. But when it comes to some person, when they say that it is about some person or it is a question of the life of some person in particular, no, it shall not be amended for one person. For Mr. Keshwananda Bharati case, it was that thing, that it shall not be amended for one person in particular. But yes, the preamble is a guarantee to all the citizens of India. It says, we the people of India solemnly resolve and give ourselves the constitution, and it is written in the preamble. So yes, there if you can add, you add democratic, you add the word republic, you add the word sovereign. This is for all the citizens. It was not for a particular person, not for one person, it was for everybody. So that was the case why the preamble was amended in the 42nd Amendment Act 1976. That was the important thing that you should know. So these are some basics that may be asked in your exams, and people be prepared. It is normally asked in, not in the UPSC, but at least in State Public Service Commission exam. This is a favorite because that is the only part of the preamble which you can be jumbled or you may have some problem with. So that you shall surface. Then we move on to Article 1 of the Indian Constitution, and now we shall actually study about various important articles. We shall study about few articles of the Indian Constitution. I will take up the articles of utmost importance and not give you an information overload by actually going through all the articles of the Constitution. The most important articles of the Indian Constitution that may come up in your examination, that I shall take here and I shall discuss. However, the articles that I don't discuss or the articles that are remain may have little less significance, but you are expected to study it on your own. The chances are that it may just not be asked any time in any of your life, in any of your age of competitive exams that you give. It may not be asked. It's not so important. What is important? Because you have various other subjects to study. If I just keep on telling you 450 articles of the Indian Constitution, I don't think you will have time actually to study your other subjects. So with regards to time bound, with regards to information overload, that what you can store in here, you should be having some appropriate data that is available to you, that is suitable for your examination, that I will discuss. We shall start discussions with Article 1 of the Indian Constitution. Article 1 is a little bit important, and it is a fundamental article, and it gives you some basic information about what is India, what is our country. And remember, we are studying Indian part of the politics right now. So we shall deal with Indian polity, and in the intermediate time I shall discuss Indian administration also. I shall give you an outlook of the Indian administrative bodies and various other administrative bodies also. Some bodies like the Attorney General, the CAG, the CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General of India, the Governor, the President are all constitutional bodies. These are all executives. these executives have a constitutional status. Their articles are very much present in the constitution, which we said we shall of course discuss in our future lectures. For now, you shall start looking at the basis of what Article 1 and further article want to say, they want to convince, or they want to tell you, or they guarantee what is enshrined in the Constitution. Now we shall study the various articles in Indian Constitution. We shall start off with Article 1 of the Indian Constitution. Article 1 of the Indian Constitution states that India, that is Bharat, this word is very much in the Constitution, India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states, shall be a union of the federal state, of small states. It shall be constituted into one union and shall comprise of all such territories that may fall within India. Therefore, India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. Article 2 of the Indian Constitution allows for the admission and establishment of new states incorporated within the territory of India. Article 2 of the Indian Constitution provides for the admission of new states, like in the case of Sikkim. As you may see, Sikkim was not previously a state of India, but then it was added by a constitutional amendment to the territory of India, and then Sikkim became a part of India, which earlier Sikkim was not a part of India. So here we see the features of Article 2. Article 3 of the Indian Constitution. Article 3 states for the formation of new states. Article 2 is admission of new states. To admit, to incorporate in the territory. Article 3 is for formation of new state. For example, this is a state, and in that you have to form another state like this. So this is one state, this is the other state. A formation of a new state, or the alteration of the names of the state or the territories of India. The very good example shall be the state of Bihar and the state of Jharkhand, or you may say, for the matter of fact, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, of course. A very good example. Madhya Pradesh was constituted into Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. So, Article 3 of the Indian Constitution allows for the formation of new states, and also allows for the alteration of names of states and also the territories, and also allows the alterations in the boundaries of states. Then this shall be the limit, what shall be incorporated into one state, or this boundary of a state shall be further extended, or it shall be further reduced, and the boundary of the other state, corresponding state, shall extend. So Article 3 of the Indian Constitution gives you the provision for formation of new states and alteration. So 2 is different from 3. 1 is that India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. 2, it allows the admission of states into the territory of India. And Article 3 of the Indian Constitution allows formation of states and alteration of their name. Into Article 3 of the Indian Constitution, we have certain points to remember. Article 3 of the Indian Constitution allows the Parliament to A, you shall note it down, form new states. Form new states. The formation of new states can be done through a law-making procedure by the Parliament only. Last time when we discussed in the introductory lecture, I told you law-making is exclusive to the Parliament of India. It is the legislative body, and the legislature can only make laws. The executive, the judiciary do not make laws. It is of course very exclusive to the Parliament. So when we say by a law the formation of new states, it is exclusive to the Parliament. So it's the parliamentary procedure to form new states. B, you have to remember, part B of this is increase the area of any state. The Parliament Always remember, the Parliament by law can increase the area of any state. Next point you shall remember, point C. Under Article 3, all these are sub clauses of Article 3, and you shall remember, form new states, increase the area of any state. It can also diminish the area of any state. Diminish. To diminish is to reduce the area of any state. If you have a copy of the Constitution of India in front of you, you shall always have a copy of the Constitution of India in front of you. If it is not available on a hard copy format,